Hey, you and your new fancy background. Oh, I gotta fix my light over here. There we go. Got some light going on.
I have a computer completely dedicated to the
Nonsense. That's dedicated to the show. What? There's nothing on it.
No, it's playing it's slow motion aerials. It's the same thing that's on the
Is that
Apple
China?
TV.
Yeah, I gave you that plug-in, man.
That's Hong Kong Island, man. That's my dream. That's my dream wall back there. Anyway,
you go to Hong Kong.
I'd go to Hong Kong in a heartbeat.
I never knew that about you. That's cool.
It plays other things other than Hong Kong, just so you know. Anyway, so we are Hustle Machine. I am Jason. He is Zack, and
Hi.
Together we have a podcast.
Hi.
Wow. We have a podcast, and we talk about entrepreneurship. We talk about business ownership. We talk about the pitfalls, the ups, the downs, creating community, getting feedback. And every week, our podcast drops on Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Today it was a tiny bit late because some technical issues, but it went up this morning, and it was about ugly brain babies, or a better term could be that's a throwback to our very first episode.
That's right.
It's about ugly brain babies, or how to take criticism from something that's come from your mind, how to take criticism on your product or your ideas or your designs, how to take that and deal with it if it's not good feedback. So last week, this episode's about criticism, dealing with it. So before we get started, hello to everybody who's watching live on Facebook and Instagram,
right.
YouTube. Put down in the comments if you want to. How do you deal with criticism? Or do you deal with it poorly? Do you deal with it well? Are you growing in your path to find a way to?
Are you growing as an ugly brain baby? Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. Are you like an ugly brain toddler? Like how's it going? But that's a reference. That's a reference to the episode. It's just something that I say. I think, Chris, if you want to drop in the comments, I think you have another way of phrasing it. But for me, I always have issues with presenting an idea to a client and something that I've lived with in my head. So like I've come up with a concept or a campaign or a design or something like that, and I present it to a client, and I'm like super excited. I'm like, look at this. Look, Simba, it's like, I've got it right here. I'm like holding it up to the client, and I'm like, check it out. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And they're like, your baby's ugly. I'm like, oh. It's devastating. It's really, really hard to deal with. Yeah. Ugly baby syndrome. That's what Chris calls it. So yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing. And so that's something we talked about on the show. I don't deal well with criticism. It's something that I recognize and I'm working on. Zack does a little bit better with criticism, I think.
I internalize it till I start getting like ulcers in my stomach, and then eventually I have to deal with it.
No, until you're like an anime. You're like an anime, and you just like go outside and rage, and like all this like light energy like shoots out into the atmosphere. And you're like, ah!
That's not me. No. No, I think between the two of us, I do handle it a little bit better. And I think something you said on the show kind of resonates why that is. Sometimes I'm not married to an idea. Like I can take it or leave it. It's not a big deal to me. Sometimes I'm like, no, this is the right way. I know for a fact I'm right. I'm 100% right. Or right. I'm 100% confident that this is the successful thing to do. And so I'm going to fight for it a little bit more. Now there are cases where I don't.
You just roll over.
Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of like say it's like one of those things where anybody who has kids, there's hills that you die on and there's hills that you don't die on.
Yes.
Like there's things where it's like, nope, I'm not letting you play in the busy street because you'll get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Or, if it's simple as they want milk instead of water and you don't want to give them the milk, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, okay, you're not going to die on the hill. I'm not going to die on the hill today.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I mean. And I think that there's so many things that, what does it say? Are they competent in giving advice? If that makes sense. Okay, it connects to the top one. Depends on how criticism is delivered.
Right.
100%. Because and we talk about that on the show. I think that we all should be willing to accept criticism. Doesn't matter what it is. Like if you're a parent, or whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in your business, whatever it is, criticism has to be part. That's the only way you grow. It's the only way you get better. Sometimes you ask for it,
but that's a really bitter pill to swallow, though. Like,
it doesn't always have to be. It doesn't always have to.
It's always for me, because I designed something and I like it. I made it, and
not always, because you've shown me designs and you're like, this is the worst design I ever made.
Well, yeah, not like, it's not like 100% of the time. So like sometimes I do have very good self-awareness, but like a lot of times. But when I'm presenting it to somebody, when I'm like,
I'm giving you credit.
Okay, thank you. But like a large percentage of the time, when I design something or create something or come up with an idea, like it was mine, and I feel like if it's not accepted, it's like a slap. You know, it's like an attack against me.
Sure.
Like I'm less than, and that's really difficult. And I feel like a lot of people have that struggle where, you might not want to speak up in a meeting for fear that somebody's going to think that your brain baby's ugly, right?
That happens a lot. Yeah. I think people get passed over who have really, really great ideas. Mm-hmm. But I also think you, as a leader, you could specifically call on some of those people.
Yeah.
But some people have this in that scenario, have stage fright. It's not necessarily that that they feel like their idea is dumb, because I think they really do feel like it's a really good idea. They just don't want to speak up. And I think as leaders, we should step up and give them opportunities to share that with confidence. And it may be just a private conversation.
I had a private conversation that hits the nail on the head. That's what I was going to say. Like, I've had people working on my team in the past, and I know that they have great ideas, but they don't want to speak up. And they would be devastated if you ask them to share an opinion in a public setting. Like, they would have just withered inside, shrunk into the chair, and like hid under the table for the rest of the meeting. Like, literally, like they would have just been like, "No, I can't believe you just called on me."
Like they melted out of the chair.
Yeah. like they just disappeared into the ether. What happened to them?
Or Homer Simpson going into the bushes.
Yeah, that's the perfect meme right there. But yeah, like people have great ideas. Like, you wouldn't have hired them to be on your team if they didn't. But like sometimes bad ideas are a good part of the process. Like, you got to get them out. Like, for me, that's what it is like with drawing. So like, I'll have an idea. So like, I designed a design last week. I designed a drawing last week, and I had this start, and I drew it all out, and I was like, man, that's pretty clever. But I didn't like love it, but like I still wanted to get feedback. And so I showed my wife, and she's like, I don't like that. I was like, okay. And then I stopped.
Regroup.
I reassessed. I drew for a couple more hours that night, and I ended up liking the design way more than I would have originally.
Two things.
Yes,
because I want to piggyback on that, but I also want to go back to the quiet person in the office. So I just recently read an article. This has nothing to do with criticism, but I thought this is absolutely nuts. So a guy told everybody that it was coming up on his birthday. He told everybody, I do not want to have a birthday party at the office. I do not want to have anything at the office. They were like, okay, whatever. You're just saying that. They did. They had a birthday. They had like a surprise get together, like cupcakes and cards and all that sort of stuff. So like, yeah, we want to celebrate you. Yay. He immediately walked in the room, left, went to his car, and would not come out of his car.
Wow.
He sued the company for this.
Why?
Because it caused so much anxiety and stress on his body.
Yeah.
He sued and won for $450,000.
Please tell me he no longer works there.
I don't know, but how gangster would you be walking in after that? Like, yeah, I own you. You know,
Be like, I told you I didn't want to party.
Best
Don't make
birthday,
me sue you.
Best birthday gift ever.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
anyways.
Hey. So side note about that, about dealing with requests and stuff like that. And this again has nothing to do with topic, but we love anecdotes on this show. So when I was at the resort I used to work at, and I was marketing director there, they knew that I didn't like to be sung to on my birthday. Like, I don't mind birthdays. It's not like I'm like one of those people who hates birthdays and thinks about the. What was that?
I
don't know. It thinks about like the deep like existential crisis, you know, that happens with a lot of people with birthdays. That's not me. I just don't like to have people sing at me and look at me like singing the happy birthday song. I find it incredibly awkward. I just don't like it.
Surprise birthday parties are right up your alley then.
So like, yes, exactly. So they knew that about me, and the best birthday party I've ever had at work, they got me a card. It was perfect. Everybody signed it. Everybody came walking into my office. They stood in the doorway. They all like were about to start singing. And then all they did was just take a deep breath. And then my boss at the time was standing in front. She goes, "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jason. Happy birthday to you." And then they all cracked up laughing and handed me the card. It was awesome because they respected that wish, and I didn't have to sue them for $500,000. So it was a win-win.
You should have still sued anyway. That was borderline, guys. That was the the whole gist of that, was that I should have just sued. Yeah, you should have just sued. So let's go back to what you just said, getting bad ideas out. And that's a conversation I have with my wife all the time, as she's a planner.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I will share ideas that like I know aren't good ideas, but just to get the ball rolling, get some things out there, let's just start shooting some stuff out. And then she'll look at me and she'll say, "Why do you suggest that? You know that's not a good idea." It's like, I know. I got to get them all out so I can get the good ones flowing in, like push past the bad ones. Yeah. So on the show, we do talk about us accepting criticism, how we personally do accept criticism.
Yes.
But I think that, again, we think that everybody should be welcome to that criticism. Whether if you're bad at it right now, okay, there's no excuse. You still have to you have to be a functional person in society. And so one of those things is accepting. I mean, I guess you don't. No.
I reject that.
Be a functional person in society?
Yeah. Get out of here, society.
Okay, that's how sociopaths are created. You've seen the Joker, right? Like the origin story of the Joker?
Yeah.
So let's don't.
Continue on.
Or the guy from Office Space with the stapler, and he goes and burns the building down.
I'm going to burn down the building.
And no one listens to him. So, anyways, criticism is extremely important, and you shouldn't run from it. I think that's one of the things we talked about, actually, in a future episode of Hustle Machine. We talk about stretching yourself, and we talk not like doing stretches. I always hated these. What stretch is this? We would do this in baseball. What stretch am I doing right now? This is not a stretch. And in reverse, like it matters. Like now, big wind circles. Like no.
Your armpits. That's all part of the thing, man. You're in baseball. You're throwing.
No, that's a load of beat.
Your pectorals. Your this thing here.
It's called a shoulder. Let's call it a shoulder. We need to work on another thing. We need to work on anatomy with you. All right. It says, do you give yourself some time to flesh out the idea before sharing it? with
Oh
each
yeah,
other.
that's
Someone
a
else.
good point.
Well,
Don't just come in hot with an idea. That'll
Jason's
save
my
you some pain.
Jason's in business. Jason is my springboard, and oftentimes I will toss out all kinds of outlandish ideas. Some of them are good, some of them are just not good at all. And Jason says, "What?" Personally, like I go to my wife. Well, actually, I go to you too. Yeah, I go to you for other things too, not just business stuff. But yeah, you got to have people who you can bounce ideas off. Like and ask questions and say, "Is this a good idea? I'm thinking about this, this, and this."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Here's my advice when it comes to criticism. For me, because we've already established that I deal with criticism poorly. For me personally, I have to remind myself when I'm opening myself up for feedback that could potentially not be just heaps of praise being rained down upon me. My suggestion is to eat the criticism. Just eat it. Don't respond to it. Just take it, eat it, shut your mouth.
Absorb it.
And say thank you. And just take it in and give it a minute. Because I've had a history where I could probably be seen as argumentative because I don't take time to eat the criticism. Or eat the feedback, not even criticism, just feedback. And I think that if you just take a minute and consume it, you'll be better off for it because then you can react to it a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
I respond too quickly to things. I don't give myself enough. I don't give other people enough time, to like explain themselves. I feel like I react a bit too quickly. So that's a reminder to me as well. Eat it.
I'm not saying anything because that has happened.
It's a fact. I'm aware. I'm very self-aware.
Yeah, you are.
It takes me a long time to fix my flaws, but I think I'm aware of things.
Well, I don't want it to sound like I'm bashing you. I think you have. I think you have come a long way, even in the short period of time of us doing this market house full time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we made that shift, there has been moments where me and you have completely butted heads, and yeah, it would get.
Yeah, we're like planning where to meet in the parking lot to duke it out, have a slap.
Yeah, keep your never mind.
Keep my idea's name out your mouth. And we're back. We couldn't even last a week. We're back on the slap again.
Yeah. What was her name? Was it Gracie? She's probably not watching now. She's probably like, those guys talked about that for too long. And now she probably just popped in right now. She probably popped in this time. She's like, oh, there they go again. So Gracie, the
listener count went up and then immediately down again. She's like, oh, I'm checking out again.
We do have good content, I promise.
Chris put
the back up. Yeah. Responding too quickly. Yeah, but I think that we all tend to, when criticism does come in. Well, let's back up because I think there's two ways you can get criticism. One is from somebody you trust and that you see as a mentor, somebody who is you want the advice from, whether they give it to you asked, like if you ask for, or they give it to you not asked. Sometimes those are the people you're like, I'm all ears. I'm gonna listen to every word you say. I can eat that. It's the ones who give you the criticism when you don't want their advice.
Oh, the unsolicited.
You don't want their opinion, and I think that's where I think you're talking about. You know what I mean? I think for you, where you have to eat it. Yeah, he says. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I think it's just in general, like, it's more pertinent when you didn't ask for feedback. For me personally, and I think for others who have a hard time taking feedback and criticism, because I'm saying criticism, but I also want to be general to just say feedback. You know, like I think it's just because for one, you can't work in a vacuum, right? Everything,
Right.
your designs are just not gonna your work, your
Oh no,
ideas,
no,
your
you can.
products.
You can.
Yeah.
You absolutely can, and a lot of people do. You
I'm gonna
can.
say I'm gonna tack on successfully. You can't
There you go.
successfully build in a vacuum and expect to have long-term success. You might have some wins, but I think it still takes feedback. I mean, we had a great win recently when I was talking to my wife about a project we're working on. I'm just like, man, it's just not clicking. And she's like, well, what about XYZ? And then you and I talked about it, and then we tweaked a campaign and we added in a new audience, and it's doing quite well
Yeah, it's
because we
I
stepped
looked at it this
outside of the
morning.
vacuum.
Yeah.
You know, so now we got to pay my wife as a consultant, and probably yours as well. And
Yeah, probably. No.
but yeah, so you can't work completely in a vacuum, and so that's what I just want to say. Successfully, yeah. I think if you're going to take feedback, and to my point earlier, you have to eat it. You have to eat that feedback, and you have to sit with it a minute before you respond immediately. And I think that's best case scenario for resulting in, you know, not hurt feelings, not coming off as confrontational. I mean, real. I have had people in past career tell me I was confrontational, and I was like, what? I was like, no, we were discussing.
No, I am not. How dare you?
And then after the lawsuit, no, just kidding. So, you know, it was, yeah, I've had people tell me I was confrontational, and that really, like, it was like a slap in the face. I was like, really? Like, I thought we were having a conversation. I think we were talking about opinion and we had differences, but like, why am I coming off as confrontational? And that was me mistaking the cues for, you know, for meetings and conversations. So, you know, I would say, you know, give it some time, sit with the comments, sit with the feedback. That's probably the best advice I could give.
Well, let's toss it to some of the people who are watching. We know there's a lot of people actually watching right now. So let's toss it out to you guys. How do you deal with criticism? What's some advice or what's some takes on criticism for you that has worked, that's been effective for you? And maybe there's things that you would say, hey, listen, don't respond this way. Maybe share a story if you want to, and maybe we can have you guys on sometime and share that story, because we love that. Here's what we want. We really want to hear from you guys to be involved in this, because I think it's not just the Zack and Jason show. It's we want to incorporate you guys into the show. So, yeah.
Okay, Chris says, I would say you're opinionated, but not confrontational. Okay, there you go. Perfect. I love that.
So that's your response next time somebody says you're being confrontational.
Quit being so confrontational. I just have strong opinions. And you're an idiot.
Yeah. As you slap them.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can be opinionated and be respectful, and I think that sometimes people will hide behind that. Well, I'm just passionate, and I'm just strongly opinionated. Okay, but you can also be strongly opinionated and not be a jerk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that yeah. Well, I'm not calling you a jerk.
You know, we talk. You know, we're talking a lot about dealing with criticism and how to deal with it when somebody tells you that your brain baby's ugly. Something that has helped me personally grow in this area is reflection after the fact.
Yeah.
So kind of like doing like a deconstruction. Like let me think about this interaction that I just had. Like, did I overreact? If so, yes. Okay, let's think about it. And then thinking about it enough to the point where you realize where you went wrong. Maybe you overreacted. Maybe you didn't handle the criticism well. Take a beat and then apologize. Like,
sure.
Be truly apologetic and make it happen. And I feel like that is another one of those keys to being successful when you are opening yourself up for feedback is if you do jump the gun and like you're rude in response. Like, you know, you don't want to be a jerk. So give yourself a B. Think about where you went overboard and not being good at accepting that criticism and feedback, and then apologize. Like, be truly apologetic to that person.
Yeah.
And it will go a long way.
And I think
But
also
then you also have to learn from it, so you're not consistently like, no, you're wrong, I'm sorry. You know, like, it's only going to work a couple of times.
We talk about this in the actual podcast today, but so go and listen to it. We'll dive a little bit deeper into it. But I think there's some value in just sitting back and trying to be insightful as much as you possibly can about yourself. Self-reflection. At the end of the day, maybe take 5-10 minutes just to reflect on your day. How could you have responded to things differently? How could you do things better or do things differently? One of the things that in a past employer, we just talked about being 1% better every single day. Just be 1% better than you were the day before. And over time, you're going to see some success and see some progress. But what comes with that is being open to that criticism. And I think that oftentimes we're not open to that criticism and we don't get better or we get stuck because there's not this self-reflection, the self-insight that we take the time to do, almost like an inventory check to get us calibrated enough to see it happening in the moment and make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Let's pop that back up. Important to mention, not trying to, what does that say? Not trying to
label it as an ugly baby. When perhaps with more help to flesh out. The idea is now it is a late bloomer idea business. Would you agree? Yeah, definitely don't present it as an ugly baby.
Oh yeah, for sure. Don't say like, yeah. So I'm listening to a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. And one of the things he talks about is keeping a notepad with you or putting it in your phone. Put it somewhere where you can access good ideas, bad or good, or any idea that pops into your brain, whether it's a personal thing that you want to work on, whether it's a business idea, whatever it is, jotting those things down so you can think about them later. And he said like 5% of those are going to be good. Yeah. 5% of those are going to actually be something that you could take and run with. 95% of them are just going to be trash.
Yeah, I do that.
I don't know.
Gosh, I almost just fell. I almost tripped over my feet and about fell into this live.
I want to say I would not laugh, but I can't say it. Yes, Chris knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, David Schwartz. It's a great book, and I think it's one where it's challenged me to think big and not put my ideas into a box. And we've talked about on this show before is just starting something and doing something, and then making adjustments later. That comes with criticism, right? Because you're going to start, just like Jason, you talked about how you design something, you spent all this time on something, you showed it to Jennifer, and she's like, "This sucks," or she's like, "Meh," or is it? Yeah, it's like it wasn't like she hated it. It was just like, it was okay.
Yeah, she's like, "I don't like that little bit there." I was like, "You're right. It does kind of suck right there."
Yeah. So if I make that tweak on that, will it be? What do you think? It's a winner? Or, Deep Work by Cal Newport is another good one. I have not. I'll put that on a list because I'm always going through books. One
of the things we mentioned on the show this week is finding a peer group.
Yes.
Finding a group of people, and that's where I know for me, when it comes to artwork specifically, and I'm just speaking of my area of expertise, but like when it comes to artwork, that's something that I was doing for a while. It was just creating in a vacuum. And then several years ago, I found a peer group, and everything changed for me. I started to be able to get feedback. I started to collaborate on designs and meet new experts in the field and meet new artists and build community. Like it changed me. And I feel like that ended up making me more successful because I had a group that I could collaborate with and talk to and share ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a safe space to like, put up some crappy designs and people be like, yeah, that's not that good. And I'm like, you're right. I'll do better. So I think it's important to find a group, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do with our show, Hustle Machine. That's one of the things that that WINJECT is trying to do as well. The whole WINJECT community is building like-minded people who are into creating and making and podcasting, and helping them thrive and succeed. So, yeah.
Yeah, we want you guys to register in the community with us, and it helps. We'll be able to engage with you one-on-one. That's the thing that me and Jason absolutely love. WINJECT has started a new kind of like mission statement: register, engage, create, or rec. You can see it
Or
right
record.
above.
Yeah, boop, boop. Yeah, it's up there,
Right there.
right above you.
I was trying to get my hand lined up just right. There we go. There we go. So yeah, that's the whole idea between Hustle Machine and WINJECT, is to create this community of people where you can engage with, you can have conversations with. That's one of the things that frustrates me with podcasters. A lot of times they hide behind what they say. They say things and they want to engage, and then they hide behind it when they get messages on Facebook or messages on Instagram.
Yeah,
they never respond, because I've reached out to several and I never get a response back. And it's like, gosh, what a missed opportunity to be able to engage with your audience. And we want to create a community of people, and you will get a message back from us. I will promise you that. Like, you will get a response back from Jason or I.
You call me in the middle of the night, I'm picking up. You need a buddy to talk to? Call Zack. You need a best friend to text with at 3 a.m.? We're here.
We have people that you can talk to.
Do you want to play that trailer, Chris? Do you want to play the trailer? I'm not sure the lead in, but
it's not really a trailer,
huh?
Not really a trailer. It's more of like a
the thing that he was trying to play earlier.
Yeah.
Key is driving comments or engagement to one spot. From there, the magic happens. They feel a part of your show. Yep. Community. So, wait.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down.
Oh, I love that thumbnail right there. Yeah, so we've started to make reels. We've started making content. Zack made a great one the other day. Started off. He was like, you know what? We need to make reels. We need to make content. And so Zack made a great one the other day. Got some pretty good traffic on it. We just released that one yesterday. So yeah, we are starting to make more reels content. Some of them are directly connected with episodes, speaking to that content. Others, like the one yesterday, is content that we're going to be talking about coming soon. So all of that.
Garen just, you have no idea, man. Like, you've been missing out on the last 34 minutes we've been chatting about this.
You just popped into a reel that we produced yesterday, and it was a joke. It was using that content from The Office where Michael is going insane, and Dwight has started the fire in the office, and so he's starting to he's trying to be really calm. I don't know what you're watching.
I was playing that one.
Oh yeah. And so the whole premise was there's two types of entrepreneurs when a new lead comes in. Some of them are trying to figure out how to deal with the fire patiently, and that was Zack. And then the others, played by me, were I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, it's coming in, I have no SOP, I don't know what I've planned. I'm not doing anything. Gary says, I would recommend utilizing live streams to help develop content. Currently working on a case study for TikTok. 96 clips from 1 hour live stream. Whoa, that's cool.
Wow, that is really awesome. Pre-upload every hour for the next
96 clips.
That's nuts. So you like? Yeah, Garen, I'd like to talk to you about that. Actually, that seems
That's pretty wild. Yeah.
yeah. I would like to.
I wonder how long it took to create 96 clips from the live stream, though.
See, that's the part for me. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, I'm putting those things together, and it does take a lot of time. I'm sure that as we do things like that more, we'd get faster but
You can message Garen on the WINJECT community.
I will be messaging Garen for sure. Garen, we'd like to chat. I'm a savage. Trust.
Facts. Love it. Okay.
Awesome.
So again, we are Hustle Machine. Jason and Zack over there. We speak to the pitfalls, perils, and perks of entrepreneurship. Hey, I just did a triple P right there. We talk about entrepreneurship. We talk about what it's like as a freelancer, as a business owner, as entrepreneurs, as side hustlers, and we speak to that community. So what's he saying? Outsource this to your local remote producer. It does take time. Let's do it. I'm assuming that means let's do it, or other maybe he's French. Let's do it.
I like it.
Let's do it. I love it. Anyway, yeah. So we're Hustle Machine. Our new content drops every Wednesday. And if you like what we talked about today and you like our banter back and forth, expect more of that wherever fine podcasts are consumed. Until then, we'll see you guys.
Cast brought to you by WINJECT Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.